Welcome, everybody, to Recovery Dharma. My name's Josh. I'm one of the facilitators here at Soul Center. And I want to just reiterate something I said a little earlier about how here at the Spokane Sangha, Julia brings forth monthly topics for us to explore. It's a great way to enrich our practice for those of us who aren't experienced Buddhists, really learn a little bit about the ideas behind Buddhism and then apply them to our recovery program here at Recovery Dharma. And so for the month of January, we've been exploring the first noble truth of Buddhism, which we're taught is that there is suffering in life. And Julia has reframed some of the wording. Um, and so, as she puts it, rather than suffering, there's discomfort. And discomfort is a little more palatable, I think, than suffering without sugarcoating it too much. And as we've been exploring, suffering, there's a full spectrum of suffering from minor discomfort to the worst pain one could imagine. And thankfully, most of us exist somewhere more in the middle at all times. I, as much as, the little kid in me would like to go my entire life with no discomfort, I don't think that would really suit being human very well for a whole variety of reasons. Um, and as I've been chewing on this topic for the last 2 weeks, because I took last week off, um, I was thinking about it's how everything goes in cycles in our lives, right? Our breath goes in and out, our blood goes round and round. And suffering, uh, it's not a one-way street. Um, we take and we give. I have 4 adult children who, thankfully, I've maintained really great relationships with. But one of the running jokes is that in our household is that we are the ones who will, just by design, be the ones guaranteed to screw our kids up the worst, no matter what we do. And I was thinking about this time years ago. We were taking a family trip to Florida, and my youngest daughter had never been on an airplane yet. And, we were going to Florida. We were going to be on a beach. It was great. And she packed her stuff a week before. And I thought that was so cute. And I was just walking by the room and I saw that she had already packed all of her stuff. And just on impulse, I decided to play a joke, and I got real serious and called everybody down to the living room and said, "Hey, look, I totally messed up on my schedule. Our plane to Florida leaves in 20 minutes. We have to go right now. We can only take the people who are packed." And she was elated. This kid, she was just like, "Yeah." And she runs and she grabs her suitcase. She's like, "Let's go." And my youngest son crumbled. He was heartbroken and just inconsolable. I told him, "Oh, just kidding. It was just a joke. It was just a joke." And he was in kindergarten. And it was such it made me realize how that action and just trying to be playful was so unwise and inconsiderate. Years later, I was retelling that story, and he was in the room and he started crying again. And to this day, I'm sure I did things that my children resent more, but for myself, that is like the worst thing for me to remember is through my just callousness. Even though I was trying to be playful, I didn't think it out how a small brain would take something like that, and that I caused that level of suffering really just to this day. Like, I'm embarrassed to tell the story. It makes my stomach feel queasy. Um, it wasn't neglect. I wasn't beating my kid or being intentionally mean, but at the same time, looking at it with a little more wisdom, it was incredibly cruel. Um, and thankfully, this kid that's in his mid 20s now somehow got over that and loves me still, anyways. But it the suffering that I caused in a careless moment lasted for a long time. And when I think about it today, it causes me suffering. It was it was unwise, it was unkind, um, and I did it on an impulse. The joke that might have gone real well with somebody who was my age, be able to take something like that, laugh and get over it in a minute. Um, it it really illustrates to me how actions and words matter, and we own our actions and our words. Um, Thoughts arise, emotions arise, feelings arise, but our actions and our words are ours. Um, since then, I've done bad things. I've said bad things. I didn't learn my lesson well enough to stop doing that. And I probably will say bad things and do bad things, hopefully to a lesser degree than I've done in the past when I was in the throes of my habit energy. Um, and I credit this practice with my awareness being much more keen about that type of behavior. Um, because if I could go back, I certainly would, and change that, but I can't. What I can do going forward is recognize those types of actions and words are preventable. I don't have to do that to my loved ones. I don't have to do that to strangers, and I don't have to do it to myself. Um, just taking a little bit of a pause, asking myself, is this wise? That little pause, that little question, I can prevent just a little bit of suffering in the world, a little bit of discomfort. Um, and I think, what we learn here, what I've learned listening to so many shares in this room, um, we're all doing the best we can to get through this. And, oh, excuse me, beeper going off here. Um, so that we can be agents of change in a positive way, both for ourselves and the world around us. And so, if you would like to join me in a meditation I prepared, ask everybody to find find yourself a position of comfort that you enjoy. And have it be whatever position of comfort works for you. If it's available to you, and if you choose a place of stillness, go ahead and sit or lay or stretch out. Settle down and allow your hands to settle where they feel at ease. If it feels safe, you can gently close your eyes or just soften your gaze and take a slow, steady breath in through your nose. Exhale through the mouth and just breathe in and out. Pay attention to your breath as it goes in and as it goes out, but allow your breath to settle into a natural rhythm. There's nothing you need to change or fix about it. Just by breathing, it's already exactly as it's supposed to be. Bring attention to your body. Notice where you're supported by your chair, or a cushion, or a car seat, or the ground beneath your feet. And just feel the steadiness of that support as it holds you. As you breathe, with each exhale, imagine letting go some of the weight that you've been carrying today. The weight of expectations, of past stories, the weight of trying to be someone other than who you are right now, here in this moment. Breathing in, feel your chest gently expand. And breathing out, let your body soften. As you breathe, if your mind wanders, that's okay. Simply notice that and then kindly guide your attention back to your breath. And this returning to our breath again and again as we meditate is already an expression of wisdom. In Buddhist tradition, the First Noble Truth teaches us that discomfort is a part of life. As we endeavor to wisely engage our habit energy, cravings, our dissatisfaction, uncertainty, and pain, we learn the truth of the First Noble Truth. But what else is true is that this does not mean life is only suffering, only that this experience is shared by all human beings. As you sit with your breath, you may notice some physical discomfort in the body, or perhaps some emotional discomfort, restlessness, regret, craving, or fear. You may notice memories or thoughts connected to your past. And rather than trying to push away these things, just gently acknowledge them. Silently say to yourself, this is just part of being human. There's nothing wrong with you for experiencing discomfort. You're not broken. You're simply awake to the truth. In our recovery, many of us come to see that in the past we sometimes cause harm to ourselves or to others, often without fully understanding the consequences of our actions. Bring to mind gently and without judgment the idea that suffering has arisen before because of our actions, our words, or choices that we made during time of confusion and pain. We're not being asked to relive these moments, only to recognize them as teachers, something we can learn from. Notice what it feels like in the body to acknowledge these truths. Perhaps there's heaviness, or maybe tenderness. Perhaps there's relief in simply being honest. Breathing in, allow your breath to support you. On your in breath, acknowledge suffering has occurred. And breathing out, gently add, and I am constantly learning. In this practice, we learn that karma means action and result, the natural unfolding of cause and effect. Karma is not punishment. It is not fate. It is simply the understanding that our thoughts, words, and actions have effects on our own hearts and minds and on the lives of others. As you breathe, reflect gently on this truth. When we act from confusion, pain tends to follow. When we act from clarity and care, discomfort may be eased. Let this understanding be soft and let it be spacious. Remember that this is not about blame, it is about wisdom. Now, bring your attention to this present moment, right here, right now. You're not trapped by the past. In this moment, you have the capacity to choose wise thought, wise speech, and wise action. As you breathe in, sense the possibility of care towards yourself. And as you breathe out, let go of any beliefs that you have that you are defined by past harms. You might simply repeat to yourself, I can choose differently now. My actions today can reduce suffering and discomfort. Notice how this feels in your body. Perhaps there's a subtle sense of strength or calm, perhaps simply some space. Remember that even small choices matter. A kind word, a pause before reacting, a moment of honesty. These are the seeds of new karma, karma rooted in healing. As you continue to breathe, bring compassion to yourself. Recognize the conditions that led to past suffering, pain, fear, unmet needs, or confusion. And recognize that you did the best you could with what you understood at the time, but that now your understanding is growing. And gently extend this compassion outward, recognizing that others too act from their own suffering. This is not to excuse any harm that others cause, but to help free our own hearts from carrying the unnecessary burden of others' actions. As you breathe in, cultivate understanding. As you breathe out, cultivate releasing any thoughts or resentments. Now, allow your mind to rest on a simple intention to reduce suffering for yourself and others through awareness and care. You don't need to solve your whole life's problems. You only need to be present for this breath. Rest here now for a few moments, grounded in your body, supported by your breath, with an open mind and heart to learning from our experiences rather than being ruled by them. As we approach the end of our meditation, carry this understanding with you. We have all known discomfort, but with this practice, our wisdom is growing, and each moment offers us a chance to create less harm and more care for all beings everywhere. Namaste. I'd like to close out our meeting with a dedication of merit. May the understanding gained through this practice help reduce suffering within ourselves and others. May our thoughts, words, and actions moving forward be guided by wisdom, compassion, and care. And may the effects of our practice support healing, recovery, and freedom for all beings. Namaste.